First topic I wanted to talk about real quick is that the first reactions have come in for Gladiator 2, and they are very encouraging. Now, early reactions have a bit of a bad rap as of recently because too many times, whether influencers, people at film festivals, they show up and they just kind of are just so overwhelmingly positive about a movie that's good, but it's not great, or it's mediocre and it's presented as, hey, it's flawed, but it's a ton of fun. And it's not actually a ton of fun. So they don't have the best reputation as of recently. This one feels a little bit different to me than some of those other ones. First off, this is not TikTokers, it's not influencers, it's not fanboys, it's not, someone from comicbook.com reviewing a comic book movie. Like, of course, they're excited to be at the world premiere for it. It's the sequel to like a prestige Oscar movie. And the types of people that are quoted in this are more actual critics, award season type people, not the types that are just drinking all the hype Kool-Aid. So think of it that way. But just kind of diving into our first reactions to the film. Just going to zoom in on this a little bit. Gladiator 2 serves up the richest feast in the epic action set pieces and deliciously ribald treachery, dovetailing stylishly with the original. Scott Menzel, the leader of one of the critics associations I'm in, Gladiator 2 is Ridley Scott's best film since The Martian. So that's his best film in 10 years. A big, bloody, badass action spectacle that builds up upon the legacy of the original. The film showcases beautiful set pieces, a lot of epic battles. Paul Mescal shines. Denzel Washington chews up scenery. We have Eric Anderson says, Gladiator 2 is a true epic and Ridley Scott's best in years. Paul Mescal is a great action star without sacrificing his indie grit, a worthy heir to the throne. Denzel Washington eats every line and costume without overplaying. So like we're going through these, like everyone is just kind of throwing praise at it, that it's the better version of what you could have hoped it would have been. There was a lot of fears. It's just a rehash. Ridley Scott, the last 10 years, kind of always. He's not the most consistent of directors. Certain projects are dramatically better than other ones. And he's had some misfires recently. And all of these are extreme levels of praise for the film. Griffin Schiller, good friend, says Ridley Scott's returns to the Coliseum to prove to the world he's still got it. Absolutely buzzing after Gladiator 2, an epic Shakespearean tale of hope, futility, and power in a crumbling system. Denzel feasts in a show-stopping Machiavellian performance. What a picture! Jermaine, Gladiator 2 doesn't quite rise to the greatness of the original, but it's a damn fine sequel with big stakes, a solid story, and excellent performances. Cinema Movie, dang, Gladiator 2 is pretty awesome. Whole cast shine, it's a worthy follow-up, and Ridley Scott captures the spirit of the original, but sequel is its own thing. Once again, just high levels of praise. That one right above this, where he says, it doesn't quite to the greatness of the original. That's the closest thing to a negative we've seen in one of these yet. And it's not really a negative. It's like, hey, remember that one that won all the awards? It's not quite that good, but man, is it really good. Matthew, Gladiator 2 is what happens when Ridley Scott lets loose and finds heart in the action. A total spectacle with a pulsating pace. Will, Gladiator 2 lacks the focus and emotional punch of the original. Mescal isn't quite as captivating as a lead as Crowe was in the original, but it's overflowing with memorable action, and it's got Denzel stealing the movie in soon to be one of his most iconic performances. So once again, this is one of the more negative takes, and it's not a negative take. It's like, hey, the original one was more focused. Russell Crowe is a legend. There's a reason that Gladiator propelled him to the A-list, where, it made him a legend. There's a reason for that. This guy's not quite that, but hey, it's still pretty good. Adam, Gladiator 2, epic masterpiece. Woo! Big words. Motion Emotional with huge, stunning action. Ridley Scott's perfect crescendo. Epic doesn't begin to describe Gladiator 2. This is the grandest of filmmaking by Ridley Scott. Nerds of color, you will be entertained. Gladiator 2 is awesome, awe-inspiring, and action-packed. Rest easy, Romans. Gladiator 2 is kind of large-scale filmmaking excellence only Ridley Scott could deliver. Corral. No, I don't think you'll understand. Gladiator 2 might actually be the best movie of the year to me. Like, that's the level of praise it's getting. That is a nice start. That is good news. So a lot of us were like, is it just going to be a rehash? Is it too similar? What's kind of going on here? It looks like Gladiator 2 is the real deal and what we hoped it would be. Today's video is brought to you by Factor. This past week, it finally got cool enough here in Texas to pull a sweater out of the closet, and sweater weather pairs nicely with fall foods. But if you're like me, your schedule's too busy to prepare all of those meals that you would love. That's where Factor comes in to help. Their chefs do the shopping and the chopping to bring you fresh, never frozen, fully cooked meals right to your doorstep. All you have to do is heat and eat. When it comes to meals, everyone wants options. That's why Factor offers 35 wholesome meals every week, including Gourmet Plus, Keto, Calorie Smart, Vegan Plus Veggie, so you'll always find something you love that suits your lifestyle. I always go with Keto or Protein Plus. Factor has over 60 plus add-ons to keep you fueled and focused 24/7 with a plethora of flavors. You'll never get bored. I personally like to start my days with their protein shakes. Head to factormeals.com/SeanChandler50 and use code SeanChandler50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month. That's code SeanChandler50 at factormeals.com/SeanChandler50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month.